My name is Chloe. Fresh out of high school, armed with big dreams and a portfolio of amateur shots, I stepped into the dazzling world of modeling. I was scouted by Glamour Elite Agency, one of the most prestigious agencies in the city. Their office, all glass and chrome, exuded an aura of unattainable elegance. I signed my first contract, believing I was on the path to a life of magazine covers, dazzling runways, and global fame. I genuinely believed I was entering an industry that celebrated beauty and creativity. But behind the perfectly lit photo shoots and the exclusive Fashion Week events, Glamour Elite Agency was a meticulously engineered machine of exploitation. It was a place where aspirations were weaponized, where bodies were treated as commodities, and where the pursuit of perfection often led to self-destruction. Looking back, I wasn't just a new face. I was a fresh piece of clay, ready to be molded, broken, and reshaped to fit an industry's cruel demands. My initial days were a whirlwind of fittings, castings, and test shoots. But the first red flag was the obsessive control over our bodies and appearances. We were immediately put on extreme, almost starvation diets. My agent, Ms. Valerie, a slender woman with eyes like chips of ice and a perpetually pursed lip, would conduct weekly weigh-ins. "Chloe, you've gained a pound. A pound is a career," she'd hiss, her voice sharp as a razor. "No one wants to see a model who eats. Water, coffee, and celery are your friends." Food became an enemy, and the mirror, a judge. Models would sneak away to vomit after meals or pass out from hunger during shoots. The pressure was immense, leading to widespread eating disorders among us. Then came the issue of predatory contracts and financial exploitation. Our contracts were pages long, filled with confusing legal jargon that favored the agency at every turn. We were paid incredibly low base rates for jobs, but the agency would then deduct astronomical management fees, portfolio development fees, travel expenses even for local commutes, and even charges for exposure. Often, after months of grueling work, we'd find ourselves in debt to the agency, effectively trapped. We couldn't leave without paying off our debt, which only grew with each new opportunity they provided. My first major campaign earned the agency thousands, but I received a statement showing I still owed them money. I remember one girl, barely 17, who refused to do a certain lingerie shoot because it made her uncomfortable. Ms. Valerie locked her in a room, screaming at her about breach of contract and the hundreds of thousands of dollars she now owed the agency for wasted opportunities. The girl emerged pale and trembling and did the shoot. She quit the industry entirely a month later, buried in debt and trauma. The most egregious deception involved the constant pressure to fake our personalities and lifestyles for clients. We were coached to be bubbly, effortlessly cool, or seductively mysterious, regardless of our true feelings. Our social media was meticulously controlled by the agency. Every post, every caption, every authentic moment was carefully crafted to project an image that was utterly divorced from reality. We were selling a dream, a persona, not ourselves. The lines between who we were and who we were paid to be blurred until there was nothing left but a carefully constructed facade. The chilling realization dawned on me: we weren't just models. We were glorified mannequins, our bodies and identities owned and manipulated. The glamour, the fame, the perceived perfection, it was all a carefully constructed lie. Every time I smiled for the camera, knowing the hunger gnawing at my stomach and the despair growing in my heart, I felt a cold knot in my stomach. The Flawless Facade wasn't just about beautiful pictures, it was about systematically stripping away our humanity, exploiting our dreams, and turning us into products for an industry that cared nothing for our well-being, only for its own insatiable hunger for profit. The constant battle against hunger and the relentless pressure to maintain an impossible ideal of thinness warped my perception of myself and others. But the physical torment was only one layer of the industry's cruelty. I soon discovered the darker side of client interactions and the insidious culture of silence surrounding abuse. Many clients, particularly photographers and stylists, operated with an alarming sense of impunity. There were countless instances of inappropriate touching, suggestive comments, and uncomfortable requests during photo shoots, disguised as artistic direction or getting the right angle. If we tried to object, Ms. Valerie would give us a steely look. "This is how you get jobs, Chloe. Don't be difficult. It's part of the game." Complaints were met with dismissal, gaslighting, or outright threats to our contracts. Models were routinely put in vulnerable positions, with no one to protect them. The agency's priority was always the client's satisfaction, never the model's safety or comfort. I recall a particularly unsettling swimwear shoot. The photographer, a man notorious for his edgy style, kept making me adjust my poses in ways that felt explicitly sexual and degrading. When I expressed discomfort, Ms. Valerie, who was present, merely said, "Just get it done, Chloe. He's a big client." I felt a profound sense of violation, my body no longer my own, but a tool for someone else's gratification and profit. Then came the widespread issue of intellectual property theft and brand imitation. Many smaller fashion brands or even individual designers would approach Glamour Elite, offering low pay for models to walk their shows or pose for their lookbooks. Later, we would discover that these brands were often copying designs from larger, established houses, using our images to legitimize their counterfeit products. I once inadvertently modeled for a luxury handbag brand that turned out to be selling cheap replicas, using my face to trick unsuspecting customers. The agency knew, of course, taking a cut from these illicit dealings. We were, unknowingly, complicit in fraud, our images lending credibility to ripoffs. The pressure to remain silent, to maintain the flawless facade at all costs, extended beyond our physical appearance. We were forbidden from speaking about our low pay, our grueling schedules, the constant body shaming, or any form of harassment we endured. Anyone who dared to complain or break rank would be swiftly blacklisted, their careers brutally ended, and their debts to the agency aggressively pursued. There was no HR, no union, no one to turn to. The industry was a closed loop of powerful agents, photographers, and clients, all protecting their own interests at the expense of the vulnerable models. My sleep became restless, haunted by the images of my emaciated body on a scale, the leering eyes of photographers, and the desperate, hollow eyes of other models. The glamour had completely faded, revealing a cruel, predatory system underneath. I started seeing the flashing cameras not as spotlights, but as blinding tools of deception, and the elegant clothes not as art, but as costumes for a very dark play. The flawless facade was no longer just about appearances. It was about a profound loss of self, a systematic dehumanization, turning young dreams into nightmares of exploitation, abuse, and complicity in a morally bankrupt industry. I knew I couldn't continue. The thought of stepping onto another runway, knowing the lies it represented and the pain it masked, became a torment. The weight of the industry's dark secrets became an unbearable burden. Every time I saw a new, hopeful face walk into Glamour Elite Agency, I saw a younger version of myself, blissfully unaware of the psychological and physical gauntlet they were about to endure. The constant hunger, the invasive stares, the casual cruelty of Ms. Valerie, and the silent complicity of everyone around me. It was a suffocating reality. I knew I couldn't be part of this dehumanizing machine any longer. My conscience, though bruised and battered, finally demanded to be heard. The final breaking point arrived during a major fashion show. Backstage, chaos reigned. Models were collapsing from exhaustion and hunger. Stylists were screaming, and the air was thick with hairspray and desperation. One young model, barely 16, stumbled on the runway and nearly fainted. Ms. Valerie, instead of showing concern, merely cursed under her breath and ordered the crew to get her off the stage. "She's ruining the shot." The girl was dragged away, pale and humiliated. Looking at her, I saw the culmination of everything wrong with this industry, the complete disregard for human well-being and the relentless pursuit of an impossible aesthetic. My body might be weak, but my spirit was finally ready to fight back. That evening, I didn't go home. Instead, I gathered all the courage I had left and started documenting everything. Photos of other models' emaciated forms, screenshots of predatory contract clauses, anonymous messages from girls who had been harassed, even a secret recording of MS. Valerie berating a model about her weight. I compiled everything, a meticulous dossier of the industry's dark underbelly. The next morning, I walked straight into Ms. Valerie's opulent office. She was on the phone, her voice dripping with artificial sweetness, presumably to a new, unsuspecting client. "Ms. Valerie," I stated, my voice steady despite the tremor in my hands. "I'm terminating my contract, and I'm going public with everything." She slowly put down the phone, her ice-cold eyes narrowing. Terminating? Chloe? Are you insane? You're under contract. You owe us. And going public? Don't make me laugh. No one will believe a little girl like you. We have powerful friends, powerful lawyers. Your career will be over before it begins. You'll be ruined, blacklisted. And trust me, Chloe, this industry has ways of making people disappear. Don't be foolish. Think about your future. She smirked, a cruel, confident smile. You're nothing without us. Her threats were chilling, but her words no longer held power over me. The pain and injustice I had witnessed had hardened my resolve. I don't care, I said, meeting her gaze squarely. I'm not a product anymore, and I won't be silent. I walked out, leaving behind the gleaming awards, the oversized fashion magazines with their unattainable images, and the suffocating atmosphere of deceit. I didn't look back. I left my agency pass on the reception desk, shedding the last vestiges of Glamour Elite Agency. The road ahead would be tough, I knew. But for the first time in years, I felt a sense of freedom, a lightness in my step that hunger and fear had long suppressed. It's been a year since I left. I'm no longer in the modeling industry. I found my voice working with nonprofit organizations that advocate for models' rights and mental health awareness in the fashion world. The fight is uphill, but every story we share, every young aspiring model we educate, is a small victory. Yet, the shadows of Glamour Elite Agency still linger. Every time I see a flawless face on a billboard or magazine cover, a cold dread washes over me. The hidden struggles, the eating disorders, the quiet humiliations, the predatory contracts, they're the true ghosts of the flawless facade. Haunting reminders of the dark underbelly where beauty is bought at the price of humanity and dreams are devoured by an insatiable industry. My experience in the modeling and fashion industry revealed a terrifying truth. The world of glamour often hides a brutal reality of exploitation. Unscrupulous agencies and individuals prey on your dreams of fame, your desire for acceptance, and your vulnerability, turning your body and identity into their profit, often at the expense of your health and well-being. So, how can you protect yourself from the flawless facade? Always remember to read every clause of any contract carefully and, if possible, have an independent lawyer review it before signing. Be especially wary of clauses about fees, deductions, and exclusive terms. Never agree to work without a clear, written agreement and fair payment. Be extremely cautious of agencies that demand large upfront, portfolio, or training fees, or those that push you towards extreme weight loss or unsafe practices. Prioritize your physical and mental health above any job. If you feel uncomfortable, pressured, or harassed, remember you have the right to refuse and seek help. Don't suffer in silence. Connect with other models and industry professionals who can offer genuine advice and support. And most importantly, cultivate a strong sense of self-worth that is independent of external validation or unrealistic beauty standards. Your value is not determined by a number on a scale or a photo on a magazine cover. If Chloe's story made you look at the fashion world a little differently, remember to like this video, share this crucial warning with everyone you know, and subscribe to our channel. Hit that notification bell so you never miss another stark revelation. We'll continue to expose the hidden dangers in every profession. Stay vigilant, stay safe, and remember, not every perfect image hides a beautiful truth.